Good afternoon. One of my friends called me a few hours ago and was asking me to whether I was willing to watch the film um, Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. Never heard of this movie before, but I understand that it is a new release. Tried to find out the nearest cinemas where I could watch it, and I have plans to watch it later tonight. Rani Mukherjee is in the movie. She is a Bengali actress. I'm going to talk informally about this issue, so I'm not in a hurry. This has the theme of the movie, which I read online and I watched a few trailers. The theme has a lot to do with my personal life. It is a struggle of a mother um, to get the custody back of her children. I understand that her children were taken away by the social services under emergency custodial order. I had experience of dealing with these things when I was working for law offices in England, and I dealt with a few emergency custodial order issues, and also um, I was giving my expert opinion on a similar case in Australia. Emergency custodial order and other prerogatives that social workers enjoy, not enjoy, rather, social workers have, were, I was questioning them when I came to the West, and I found out that as if my children are not, were not my children, they were the children of the country, and I was simply their custodian. I found that to be odd because I was I was feeling like I was kind of answerable for everything regarding my children, whether they were studying, they were attending school regularly. I found them to be sort of interference in my private and personal family lives. But in the due course of time, I realized the necessity of those prerogatives, of those rights, uh, uh, social services have. This is a common uh, tradition in South Asian countries that you do not question your parents, you do not question their love, you do not question their instructions, you never question their intentions. This is not only in South Asia, probably, this is a very common social understanding or norm in developing countries. I believe personally that children are the most important part of your life. They're the most important treasure of your life. Children, they're part of your life still. They're not whole of your life. You have life beyond being parents. But in countries like Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan, parents are so dedicated and devoted to their children that they don't have any lives beyond that. To a mother, being mother is everything, everything. And that sometimes become burdensome, overbearing. And also they become possessive. In many cases, in Asian countries, especially in South Asia, a child to a mother or father remains a child for the rest of his life. The child is never allowed to grow up. It is a common thing for our mother to feed us with their hands, you know. Doesn't matter how much we grew up, they still treat us like babies, my baby. Saying one thing and acting like one is different. So we have this overbearing control or possessiveness over us by our parents. We are never allowed to grow up. It's not, it doesn't end with just feeding us with their hands. We are treated like babies. We're never allowed to grow up. Our parents, they dictate our professions. It's not only that they give us advices what to be in our lives, but we are never allowed the freedom. We are, we are, for example, persuaded to take up professions which will give us money, regardless whether we enjoy that profession or not. Socially, you will see children from South Asia, they will do great in their GCSE exams compared to many of the Western children, even from other races and cultures. It's because we grow up in strict regimes in our families. We are dictated. Our daily lives are set in routines. We have to be very attentive to our education. All right, that's all right. That's, I think, any parent would want. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. It goes up to who we should have relationship with. We will be too scared to tell, say, our mother, say, or even to our dad, sorry, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a painter. I want to be a writer, a full-time writer. Probably I will not make that much money, but that's what I want to be. I want to conquer the seven seas, take the raft, and just try to cross the ocean. That's my life. That's what I want to do. But we won't have any freedom. We'll be told who to marry, what sort of girl to marry. And if we go against their wishes, probably they have some, they have, probably they have good intentions, but that's separate. We must have rights to our own lives. But this extreme possessiveness will not allow that. That's why you see, on many cases, these honor killings. And we are often driven away from our own families when we change our religions or give up our religion, if we question our religion, if we question our culture. We are not taught to be analytical in our minds. As I said, we are doing great in our GCS exams. Probably we are becoming great lawyers, doctors, engineers, whatever. But in reality, most of us, we do not know how to practice our analytical understanding, analytical mind. We don't have analytical mind, usually. That's why we cannot break our social taboos. So feeding my my children with my hands is symbolic to the gesture that we, in fact, are never allowed to take responsibilities of our own lives. Never allowed. Probably My hair will grow gray. My mom is probably 95 years old. Still, my mom will be telling my wife what to do, what not to do. So it doesn't end there, my friends. It doesn't end with a like a like a mark on our forehead in Bengali culture, like a black mark to drive away evil eye. But it doesn't end there. We as children had no rights. Our religions do not give us any rights. I was circumcised before even I had anything to say about it. Now I am obviously I'm a middle-aged man. Now if I could reverse it, I would have told my parents, no, I don't want to be circumcised. It's my body. Whether it would be good or not, let me decide when I grow up. But you changed it irreversibly. So why should my parents be allowed to do illogical, irrational things to me and keep brainwashing me when I was growing up? So it doesn't end just like a small mark on my forehead to drive away. It's not that evil look. It doesn't end there. It continues. It continues. And again, keeping our babies, our children in our bedrooms instead of keeping them in a baby's room or in a cot, baby cot. Our mothers would keep us next to them when we were babies. Why? Dad has a right to to my mother as well, right? Mom and dad would sleep together, and it is risky for the baby as well. And this over possessiveness, where is it coming from? It's like in the Amazon forest, we found evidence that there were mothers who were keeping their dead bodies keeping the dead bodies of their babies with them, even after they were, even after they were dead, they were hanging on to their dead babies. So this overbearing attachments with our parents never allow us to question and break the age-old rotten social taboos that we grow up with in our societies. We can't question their orders, their irrational orders. And again, to believe parents are always right is wrong. I, for an example, was discriminated by my mother all my life. I was always discriminated for whatever reason since as far back as I can remember. And I don't love my mother. I have sort of affection for her, but I don't love her, no. And I have many many friends from South Asia who complain to me every single day that they were abused by their fathers, they were abused by their mothers, they were abused by their cousins, they were abused by their uncles. This love for extended family, it sounds good. It's all right. We love your extended family, but parents abuse this. I am 75 years old. My youngest son is 20 years old. My eldest son is 50 years old. So I was so irresponsible that I dumped my youngest child's responsibility knowingly that I would become old, still on my eldest child. My eldest child would become my youngest child's father eventually, because I'll be dead. So I know of many older brothers whose lives were kind of finished with burden taking care of their younger siblings. It's my parents' responsibility to bring them up. It's not my responsibility. I'm not the father. I love them. They're my brothers and sisters, but I'm not their father. Probably, if there was an unexpected situation that my father suddenly had died, my brothers and sisters were not that younger than me, and my parents suddenly died. That's different. That's like unexpected. As a brother, if you have the ability, you support them. But many parents knowingly give birth to children without even confirming that what will how will they be reared up. They simply pass the bucket to the eldest child. This is abuse. This is absolutely abuse. So why should we allow this abuse to continue in the name of parental love? This is not parental love. This is abuse. This is clear abuse, and we cannot allow this abuse. And this is what many don't understand, because there are many parents. There are many, I would say, father. We have many examples where own father raped his daughter. There was a time. There was a time when we used to not believe this, right? But now we have to believe this because there are many examples now, and we cannot deny this anymore. We cannot deny this anymore. There are many mothers. There are many mothers who abuse their children as well. Listen to this. Most of the um, daughters who were um, um, married off in their childhood were in fact married off by their own mothers, not by their fathers, but by their own mothers. Mothers were the one who in fact took the initiative of marrying off their daughters at early ages. South Asia, especially Bangladesh, has one of the worst record of child marriages. And you'll be surprised to know mothers are usually taking the initiative of marrying off their daughter at early age. Mothers. Why? Because it's a vicious circle. The mother was married off at an early age, and she would then marry off her daughter in an early age. And this is quite common. This is going on for centuries. I'll give an example. The founder of ISKCON, Prabhupada, his sister was married off when she was a child, because Prabhupada's dad was being constantly reminded by Prabhupada's mother that my daughter is growing up, marry her off. And that daughter, well, that means Prabhupada's sister, was married off under the pressure of his mother when she was a child. So I'm all in support of this emergency custodial order. And again, we can't think of sending our parents in old homes. Why not? I think parents should be living at old homes. Or if we can manage, if we have the money, we should be able to put our parents in a separate living condition, for a separate apartment, separate house, so that we can keep good relationship, because otherwise parents would always be interfering in my wife's matter, in my my own personal matter, because I'm a grown up man, I'm not a child anymore. So parents should know their limits when it comes to making decisions. Otherwise, we will see parents interfering in their children's married life. It's a common thing in our culture. It's a common thing. The mother-in-law would tell the daughter-in-law, "Don't do this. Don't feed your child this. Don't go there. Do this to your husband." I mean, it's a common thing, and this is overbearing. And the parents should also get ready for old age instead of relying on their children, that their children will be taking care of them. It is good if they do, but they should not expect it. Just being a mother, I'm the mother, cannot be the only argument, absolute argument. No, it's not. Because there are many examples where mothers kill their own children. Most of the children who are babies who are being killed in the West by their parents, most of the time, it's the mother who is the killer, for many reasons. Because usually here, there's some family problems here as well, because fathers are almost treated like just simply sperm donors in the West, and fathers are treated as second grade parents. That's another problem we have in the Western family law. But claiming I am the mother, that's it. Nobody loves my children more than I do. This cannot be the argument anymore. Whether a mother is a good mother, whether a mother is over possessive mother, those are the things we need to take into account as well. Whether the mother and the father are allowing their children to make up their own mind, whether they're being allowed the free thinking, whether they're being brainwashed with garbage. The country, the government has a responsibility. And social services get money. Oh, of course they do. But that's not the question. The question is whether being a parent, you're being over possessive. You consider your children to be your property. That's what I believe happens in many, many cases in South Asian families, especially Bengali families. Mrs. Chatterjee or not. I don't know Mrs. Chatterjee's whole story, so I can't comment on that. But at least from a general perspective, we are not allowed to be free. You will see in the West many of the times, say, children want to take brave steps. Mom, Dad, I want to cross the ocean. The parents would say, have you thought through the pros and cons about it? Have you thought about the risks involved? And then if the child says yes, if the child has reached a certain age, the parents would say, okay, go for it. It's your life. You have my support. Or we are never given that freedom. This is what it is. Thank you. I will watch the film and then give another review. Take care.